Let's play some games. Now I have 3 games here based on the Indiana Jones trilogy. Oh, there's a 4th movie coming out. Yeah, tomorrow in fact. For 19 years, we've been calling it the Indiana Jones trilogy. But now, it's the last day when we could actually call it that. Now, I'm psyched. I mean, you can just tell. I'm all ready. So, to celebrate the occasion, let's pop this in. Raiders of the Lost Ark on Atari 2600. The first thing that happens, you see Indiana Jones descending from some kind of escalator, and then nothing. You try every button, and by every button I mean one. You rock the joystick all around, you flick every possible switch, and nothing happens. Is the game broken, or did I already find the Ark, and that's the end of the game? Pretty easy, I must say. But guess what? You're supposed to plug the controller into the second port. Now the game begins and you can move Indy. Yeah, isn't that weird? But even more up, you need 2 controllers to play the game. Controller 1 selects items with the joystick and drops items with the button. Controller 2 moves Indy with the joystick and uses items with the button. Once you figure that out, you think you're all set, but no, the confusion has only begun. You wander around the marketplace, yeah, that's what it is, but you never know that unless you read about it. You collect items from baskets. Now, let me show you. This is the gun. Makes sense, right? You see the little bullet flying out? Now, let me show you the whip. This is the whip. It's the same as the gun, just a shorter range. Why is it just a dot? I know the graphics on the Atari are limited, but don't tell me you can't draw a line. So after leaving this innocent marketplace, you end up falling, and then there's some tall, crazy guy in black chasing you around. Who is he? What is he? Is he from the movie? Could it be him? I don't know. But you walk all the way to the bottom with this guy pestering you only to find a dead end. So you go all the way back up to the top, which just brings you back to the marketplace. There's nowhere left to go but back up where you started. But there's snakes on the edge of the screen just waiting for you, so it's impossible to go up without getting killed. Snakes, I hate them. But here's what you can do. Go to the merchant, select the bag of gold, and drop it, which exchanges it for the flute. When you have the flute selected, it plays a tune which keeps the snakes from killing you. That's a lot of faith to put in the gamer for you to know that this is a merchant, that's a bag of gold, that's a flute, and you use it to keep snakes away. But anyway, you'll find that you can't go anywhere beyond these 3 screens. You'll explore every last corner and exhaust every possibility of where you're supposed to go. But guess what? See this thing? That's a grenade. You put the grenade next to the right-hand wall, you leave the screen, then you come back, and there's a nice big hole in the wall. Okay. First of all, you'd have to know how to use the grenade. You can't drop it like we did with the bag of gold. You got to use the right controller. Otherwise, the bomb just goes away and nothing happens. So dropping it isn't the same as activating it. But besides, how would you know to bomb a hole in the wall? Even in a Zelda game, there's usually some sort of clue. But here, there's nothing. So, you go through the caves, you collect all kinds of weird items, you can't even tell what they are. You end up in some sort of trap, you have to whip your way through the walls, which is easier said than done. And then you come out, and then you find that you can't touch the walls in this room. If even a single pixel of your body comes in contact with any of these walls, it sends you back in the trap. But still, where do you go? You're supposed to touch this one spot on the wall, which leads you to the next room. Well, after knowing that you can't touch anything else in the room, why the f*** would you even consider trying to go through the wall? Is there ever such a thing as a door? Also, in order to access certain parts of the game, it depends on how you move to the next screen. Here, we've already seen that when you go down like normal, you fall and end up in this weird place they call the Valley of Poison. But if you gently, carefully just ease your way down, it takes you to a whole different screen. Then there's a weird treasure room where you have to keep swapping items. You leave the room, you come back into the room, you drop this, pick up that, swap this, exchange that, till finally you get all the items you need. Of course, each item is just trial and error to figure out what they do and where in the game you use them. Like the hourglass or the ankh. You use them to summon a little dot that bounces around. It's supposed to be a grappling hook. You hit the right controller button and time it when the dot goes over an island. Then you'll appear on that island. You'd expect Indiana Jones to use a whip to swing across, but not an hourglass that turns into a grappling hook. By this point, I also really have to say, using 2 controllers is a pain in the ass, unless you're Goro. I'd recommend 2 sets of hands or 2 players.
Then you get to this part where you need to stand in a certain place for this map to appear. Ooh, like in the movie. You need to select the key to enter. You need the clock to tell you when the sun is rising. You need the medallion so the sun can shine at the right time and mark the spot on the map where you have to find a shovel to dig for the ark.
Wow. How complicated can it be for an Atari game? Let alone that this is one of the few Atari games that you can actually beat, whereas most of them are just about trying to get a high score. And when I say it can be beat, that's hypothetical, because honestly, I think it'd be easier to find the real Lost Ark. Just the fact that you have to feel around for secret passageways and stuff, it makes you feel like Indiana Jones. Well, they got me there. Next up is Temple of Doom.
Based off the second movie, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom was an arcade game which was ported to many home computers before eventually arriving on the Nintendo Entertainment System. There were two versions, an unlicensed black cartridge by Tengen and an official release by Mindscape, although both versions are the same game. The game begins, Indy walks from one cave to the next, and what's going on here? What the hell? Oh no, not this again. Oh, it's select. It's one of those games where select is start. Now, what's up with Indiana Jones? He looks like a park ranger, and he walks like he just dumped. Alright, so basically you're just going around rescuing little kids. See, there's a little kid, you get the little kid, and then they get the sword, and oh my god, another sword. Oh, another sword. Oh my god, this little cave here is awfully generous. All through the game, you keep finding swords and guns and stuff, but the big question is, what do you do with them? The start button brings up this screen which shows your supply, but how do you select your weapons? You try every button and nothing works. So what's the point of this screen? Nothing. It's just for and giggles. Oh well, we're having fun with our whip in the meantime, but then you find that your whip is pretty useless. You can use it to swing around and kill small insects, but any of the regular bad guys, it only makes them jitter around and grunt. Should be a dance.
Whip it!
Come on, this is ridiculous. By now you're wondering, where the are my weapons? Well, here's how it works. You hold the select button while pressing right for the sword, left for the gun, up for the bomb, and down for the whip. On top of just being awkward, it's impossible when you're in a tight situation and have to switch real fast. There's no way to pause the game and then switch weapons. You have to do it during the action. If you're on a conveyor belt, there's no way you're gonna mess around unless you want to fall off and die. That's my biggest gripe with this game. I've never heard of such a dim-witted, idiotic, lame-brained way to switch weapons. But at least you only use one controller. There's also a serious problem going on with the jumping. Whenever you jump, you gravitate towards the bottom of the screen. You're constantly fighting against it with the D-pad. At first, I didn't understand what was going on, but now I kinda see what they were trying to do. The cliffs, the platforms, the conveyor belts, everything's descending as you go down, like you're on the side of a mountain. So whenever you jump, naturally you drop. But you're sort of looking at it from a bird's eye perspective. But no, wait. Are these doors actually just rectangular holes in the ground? Is Indiana Jones walking, or is he crawling? Or, huh. I don't know. I don't have a clue. It's like they couldn't decide if they were making a 3D or a 2D platformer. So what you get is like a hybrid. Anyway, the big problem is figuring out where you're supposed to go. Some call it a platformer game, some call it an adventure game. I classify it as a where the do I go kind of game. Yeah, one of those. It's dreadful. All you do is jump around. You go indoors and you jump around some more. You jump around, you jump around. The stages don't really progress much. Everything looks the same. It almost seems like I'm doing laps. But wait. Yeah, how did I get here again? You want to know why? Because the damn stages cycle over and over again. Let me draw it out. It's like, okay, here's the stage, you know, all the cliffs, the doors, lava pits, all that bull. Anyway, for example, if you go all the way down here, you don't hit a wall or any kind of boundary, you just come out up here, but without any indication that you've done so. What kind of bull is that? Everything looks the same anyway, so it only makes an already confusing game even more confusing. Who would want to play this? I'd rather drink buffalo. It's a combination of and yeah, that's foul. I apologize. You know, there's a major paradox going on here. If you keep jumping down, you're basically coming out the top again. Yeah, you follow? It's kind of like a never-ending staircase. Even Einstein would be baffled by how this game breaks the laws of physics. Just the fact that this game was made the way it is, it's a stain on the fabric of nature. Another thing I hate is whenever you get hit, usually by a stupid bat or something, you end up going ape like Indy's having a seizure or something. It stuns you for a few seconds, but if it happens on a conveyor belt, you're going over the edge. How did I die? Look at this. I jump down, I land on the conveyor belt, and I'm dead. You mean from sticking my toe in the very, very, very edge of this lava pit? Try again. Kiss my ass. I hate this game. It's horrible. Next up, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is another strange case. It was originally released by Taito, but then came a completely different version by Ubisoft. Did we really need two games based on the same movie on the same console? Especially when the later one's a steaming pile of pig. How bad is it? Well, let's begin with the first thing you see, the graphics. While the animation is pretty decent on Indy, why is there this choppy outline around his body? And where's the color? Everything's in monochrome. It's like something you'd see on Game Boy. Indy's in like a sepia tone while the backgrounds range from yellow to green. What happened? Even the Game Gear version had more color, and that was a handheld console. So, when the game begins, you immediately take damage from everything in sight. Even when you fall off the rope, some mysterious force hits you on your way down. Then you get shot at while you're wondering, where's my whip? Is this all you can do is just punch? How am I supposed to fight a guy with a gun with my fists? You think you can just take the platform and go over him? But no, you come to a dead end, with a little narrow opening just to tease you. No, you can't crawl. I tried. And you can't jump down either. So it's all the way back to the guy with the gun. You gotta get near him without touching him, and still, it takes quite a few punches to put him down. And this is just one guy. There's a million of them. Next thing, you come to a small body of water. You can't touch it or you die. You just keep jumping on the ropes. Oh my god, get back on the rope. What the hell do I... what the f***? How is Indiana Jones such a wimp that he can't set foot in water more shallow than a kiddie pool? All the way through, the game's without mercy, and it doesn't help to not have a whip. And why does there always have to be a time limit? Once you get to the first level boss, any sane person would shut the game off. Just look, I have to fight a guy with a long-range weapon with my bare fists. Once you get the pattern down, you're able to step in, take a few jabs, and step back while avoiding the stalactites at the same time. And look how much damage it takes when you punch them. Is it a joke? What dumbasses made this game? They should have sent it to the Marx Brothers. Halfway through the second level, you finally get this weird item. In the back of your mind, you think, what is that, a whip or something? No. By this point, you don't even expect the whip to be in the game. But yeah, this is the whip. You just have to select it, that's all. Why would you not want to select the whip? So now you're in complete shock, thinking to yourself, oh, I get it now. Like in the movie, he doesn't get the whip till he's on the train. But whoa. Let's talk about the story. As the game begins, it just says exploring the caves. That's it. It doesn't tell you why you're exploring the caves. But before you can complete each level, you need to find certain items. Here, it's a cross. So, okay, is this supposed to be the opening scene of the movie, where he's young Boy Scout Indy? Then why does he have the jacket and hat? In the third level, he's in the catacombs looking for stone tablets, and in the fourth level, he's in the castle looking for the pages of his father's diary. So the whole game is loosely based around scenes from the movie, but the whole time it's the same adult Indy. So here's the bottom line. Either follow the movie or just give me the damn whip. This is great, right? You remember when Indy fought an archer on the train? Come on. You gotta be kidding me. Oh man. Just die. Oh, God. God. Man?
You think Indiana Jones would have been a great concept for a side-scroller game, but they just kept it up. How'd they do this? It's But here's one which was actually pretty decent, so let's take a quick look.
Indiana Jones' Greatest Adventures is exactly what you'd expect of a movie-based game on Super Nintendo. You move from left to right and kill a bunch of bad guys with your whip. It's more self-explanatory than most of the previous games, which makes it easy to pick up and play. And thank God it has a password system with only 4 characters, making it easy to continue where you left off. Best of all, the stages all follow scenes from the movies. That's right, from Raiders to Crusade. One thing I find funny is that the final boss of the game is the skeleton. You know, when Donovan drinks the wrong grail. Kinda reminds me of a Castlevania game. Overall, LucasArts gave the same care and attention to the franchise as they did with their Star Wars trilogy, except here, they're all rolled into one game. Same as me, combining 3 reviews into one, but hey, now I'm pushing 4, so let's end this thing.